Man, what's good? Hopefully the audio is good, man. Something about these headphones. I mean, I could switch them, but it's all good. Make sure. But just checking in, man. You know, your boy Judah Ken, relaxing, getting staying cool, hydrated, uh, in good health, good spirit. You know what I mean? Trying to stay thankful. No, staying thankful and just trying to be somebody that stays blessed. You know what I mean? Gotta, cause we not obligated to receive blessings. And you got two avenues you could receive your little blessings from. You could receive your blessings from, you know, uh, the fallen one. That's what I call him. That fallen angel. You know what I'm saying? Or you could receive your blessings from the Most High God. You know what I mean? And them things you gotta earn. You gotta earn that. People often feel obligated, like they supposed to get this or they supposed to get that. And then sometimes they might be rewarded or might be blessed, and it wasn't a blessing that, correlates with, fits the lifestyle you have. It's like, bro, there ain't no blessings. You out here, you know what I'm saying, fornicating, you know what I'm saying, doing all types of wild things, smoking, drinking, turning up, bad language, all the above. You know what I'm saying? So that them blessings is coming from that other master. Christ said, you are, you are like your father. You know what I'm saying? And you are like your father, the devil. So I hope people really think about that, man. And I try to stay on the righteous path and stay in my book. Educate my daughter in that book, that Bible. You know what I mean? And just stay positive, man. Try to, have them fruits of the spirit. You know what I mean? Galatians 5:22 to 23. You know what I mean? And just have that in you. And like anybody that's around, I try to, throw out that positive vibe so that it's reciprocated. You know what I mean? Like, if you nice, stay nice. If you smile, they smile. You understand what I'm saying? So, like, you don't want to, be the person that wakes up aggressive, wakes up mad, communicates with profanity. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. And I know people be like, why people sweating profanity? I'm a curse. You gonna curse, you gonna curse. That's on you. I just, I mean, like I said, we have our days. You might throw something out there in the moment, turning up with your folks or whatnot. But like, just as far as being somebody that has no respect for your surroundings and, elders or children being present, and just somebody that when in society, you have that demeanor that's like, okay, who's that? He must not supposed to be here. They need to let him go outside or something. You know what I'm saying? We ain't trying to hear all that. So, yeah, like I said, I ain't perfect. Every once in a while I'll, slide something out, but I'm not running around here throwing F bombs and B words and all that. It's not that serious. I really be trying to, 95% of the day, be in a positive mindset, and I see everything now. I see the things that's going on, the things that's going on in society, and I think about, and it was in three or four different scriptures, where Christ mentions the rumors of wars and the earthquakes and diverse places, and I was just like, man, and I see a lot of people on social media, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, they're, I mean, that's how society responds, they're, oh, it's a war, we in a war, and it's like, okay, do I care? To some extent, I feel like, when they start, walking in schools or going in buildings and blowing themselves up, then that's one big thing where you have to really be concerned, especially if it's in your surroundings and in your society or near you, you know what I mean? Or places you might be, what I'm saying? That can jeopardize or hurt those that you know. But like, I'm not really worried. I'm not concerned about that because, and this is the thing, I could tell like a lot of people like they don't read the Bible. They haven't read the Bible. And if they have, they've overlooked it. You know what I'm saying? I would open my phone to show the scriptures that I had to connect to show those particular verses, but like I said, it mentions that, and it mentions to endure. Like that ain't even a time yet. You know what I'm saying? These things have to happen. So whatever happens, happens. Like, and that's unfortunate, but that's what it is. Like you have to endure. You can't be out here and, I mean, you want to talk about it, that's cool. But like if you panicking and you freaked out and, it's because you don't know the word. You ain't in your Bible. You need to get in your Bible and you'll see. And if you somebody that can say, man, I ain't trying to hear all that. I ain't got to endure nothing. I mean, that's on you. That's why I don't engage with certain people because there's a level of intellect that I'm not trying to engage. All right, I hear you. Like the elders say, like you can't feed a dead horse. You know what I mean? You can't make them drink. You know what I'm saying? And they already lost. Ain't no point in dragging them. So yeah, like yeah, they not in they scriptures. They don't get it. They don't understand. A lot of these things have to happen. Don't matter how severe it gets. You have to be someone who is of strong faith, and you got to endure. And this thing about faith, man, like I feel like people, they don't really look into it like that. They don't really consider faith for what it is. It's a big thing. You know what I'm saying? And I live, life every day with a good mindset of faith. I'm positive about everything. I'm very thankful. I'm grateful for the blessings that I get. You know what I'm saying? And also, like, I'm not, I don't live on the negative of, I'm hoping something to happen. Oh, it's going to be a war. We're in a war. They're going to bomb California. Like, I'm not thinking that. I'm not on that. I'm not in that mind space because my faith is good. Okay, we going to be straight. Me and my family going to be straight. You know what I'm saying? And my family and friends, and that's just what it is. Because I have that faith. I believe that, you know. And if something did happen, it's not going to make my faith any lesser than what it is. I'm gonna continue to be someone that's strong. I mean, come on, I'm a person that It's paralyzed from the neck down. I deal with different situations all the time that are connected to my health or my condition or whatnot, and it's not still not throwing me off the tracks of my faith. As long as I know I can get up, what I'm saying, get out there, get fly with my folks, see my family and all that, I'm good. What I'm saying? My daughter, she having fun and, want to be outside with me. Like, that faith is good. I'm good. What I'm saying? I'm happy. Like, that's what it is. And I got good folks that be like, man, pull up, come over. Like I'm for sure. Like I'm with that. You know what I'm saying? So, like these things are those are blessings based on your faith. I got a location for you to go. You know what I'm saying? So you could be safe. You know, it's the Most High. Yeah, I feel that. But yeah, man, I see a lot of the things that's going on in the world. And I don't even engage in topics, man. I don't look at the news videos or I see a lot of the stuff on social media or whatnot. But I'm not. We can't stop what's gonna happen. If the president does martial law tomorrow and put 1,000 soldiers in each city or whatever, we can't stop that. You know what I'm saying? So like that's just what it is. You gotta stay focused, stay out the way, do the things that you gotta get into that mindset of the art of survival, the art of war. You have to start thinking in a way that is it expands your longevity. Expands your longevity, keeps you safe. You got to be prepared. All the above. Make sure your pantry stay. Make sure your pantry straight. Make sure you got your dry foods and everything that you need. Make sure the medications is there. Stuff you need. I mean, it's like think. Don't go out there at the last minute when they get cracking and we can't go outside. We can't go to Costco. We can't go. That's you should have been with, you know, and make sure you got the protection for the people that didn't go. So when they trying to, we gonna go check houses like they do on Walking Dead, and see if we can get what they got in there. We just gonna start taking stuff from people. Yeah, excuse excuse me. Be having that fan on, and that fan be having me over here coughing or whatnot. But yeah, you try to take. We not that family. You know, but yeah, man, it's and then I see a lot of the other societal distractions and that's going on as far as just the daily topics of hood content from your average or regular hood podcasters and stuff like that. I used to think about having my channel on that type of page, but just like I got the G homeboy, cartoon, cartoon. He don't curse on his channel. He don't disrespect other gangs on his channel, but he's a definite veteran. Like definite veteran. Like can't take nothing away from the honor that he has as an individual. Respectable, so I respect it, but I also respect what he's doing. Like he can tell his stories without doing certain things. Like you don't gotta use profanity, and I've done caught him once or twice, drop scripture on people. So I'm like, yeah, okay, that's what's up. That's what we need. That's real OG stuff. You know, and then had his days in the park, where they turned up, but they be chilling. He's still has a way of maintaining an order that doesn't jeopardize or strike the channel, stuff like that. And I think about that, but I'm not. We different direction. He talks about the experiences and some of the things that are in society of where we grew up and what we portrayed or represented, not portrayed, but represented, which is cool. And me, I'm just more society in general and the context of trying to just throw out wisdom. Like, they could be like, man, who is this dude thinking he, making this channel? Like, who is he giving, trying to tell what to do or what not to do? Nah, man, I just sometimes some things and you want to be like you feel compelled to let people know that don't know, because a lot of people don't know these things, and it's it could be typical, it could be a norm, it could be typical, but sometimes you gotta give people that push where you like, okay, let me go on and tap their shoulder real quick and let them know like, hey, y'all should start preparing, y'all should start getting on point with everything, with what's going on in society. Make sure your kids are straight, make sure your family's straight. It's crazy because sometimes you do run into them brick walls. Like I said, I be having some numbers, on my channel, and maybe because I don't tag or do anything like that to really get me an algorithm of circulation with different people, or because some people don't know who I am. Like, I'm aware that I could potentially gather a following or increase a following on my channel if I insinuate or put it out there like, oh, I'm Cartoon's homeboy, I'm his little homeboy, like, same hood or whatever it may be, but I'm not tripping off that, although I mentioned it, but like I'm not utilizing that as, I'm not tripping. People, they'll see the things that I post, and I'll try to keep it consistent because I see people they're there every day with it. Tune, Young Ant, back on Fig, Community, No Jumper, a lot of these Bobby A, Compton Rick Rock, a lot of them, they're every day with it, and that's what you have to do to really get that type of notoriety. So, I do want to, get on here and keep it going every day. I mean, I do have that support. I can be like, hey, can you, set me up, get me situated, throwing a shirt, you know what I'm saying? Even get me in my chair, you know what I'm saying? And I got the support for that. So, it's all love. And I just, I want to make sure that I'm not choosing the daily drama of, the world, the urban world, the urban world of what they got going on. Like I'm not trying to touch on that because, a lot of these things people do is really for content, whether it's trying to disrespect somebody and let me slip it out in front of them, and like, it's content. And I feel like a lot of that content can get somebody hurt. If the right person in the room, like, some people can get hurt, but I don't really like going into that because I'm paralyzed. So, if I wanted to be somebody hurting someone, I can't do it anymore. So, it's all good. But I mean, I can go there verbally, man, and break them down or whatever. But what you when you say something that's real, any real individual that knows, like, yeah, you're right, that's valid, they get it. But as far as that part of society that is okay with, not having integrity or, real morals, when it comes to certain codes and stuff like that, those days have long been done and over with. But, I mean, Charleston Whites and, Little Woodies and all that. So, it is what it is. And people just trying to capitalize off associations or the moment of doing something that can, you know, increase following, subscribers or, get views, and that's what it is. Views matter, notoriety matters, respect, it doesn't. Although I'm aware and social media and society is aware of the ones that, stand on integrity and respect, but um, it's not a lot of people that do, you know. It's not a lot of people that do, man. And, those days are kind of over with. And I think that's one of the main reasons that I really be, focused on this family thing and, my book, with my daughter, and more, just prayer, being thankful, staying out the way, because I just think about certain things and it's like sometimes I don't understand why people can't get into a certain mindset. I'm gonna mention the scenario, but I'm not gonna say who it is. But I think about a young individual who got incarcerated years ago and came in at a young age. And sometimes a lot of people, when they're about to get out, they get out like they came in. So if they came in at 18, they'll mentally be 18. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you see them running around active or trying to engage into a lot of negative things. But the thing is, when you see that they have responsibilities and priorities that they could focus on, whether it's a kid, son, daughter, like you can, that should be your focus. Connect with that. You know what I'm saying? Before you get out here and you know, he thinking you Ray Ray, not Bobby Johnson. And like that's throwing his positive influence of a real mentor off. You know what I mean? And like, but he's supposed to be Bobby Johnson when Bobby Johnson came home, because that's the reality of life. You want to be in that person's life. You want to focus, grow with them, teach them things, do things, put in the time that was lost. So I think about that, man, and I'm just sometimes I don't understand people, fathers, mothers, and how they're not. Excuse me, sorry. Yeah, man, I got this fan over here, man. This thing booming. You know what I'm saying? It's real good, and I kind of be letting it uh, cause me to be a little congested sometimes. So, I might cough here and there, and got that mucus build up or phlegm. But anyway, I just think, man, like, how can you not want to be, a positive role model? It's like 1 minute of clearing my throat. And like, man, just go on and stop that video, bro. Nah, it's all good. The real is what you get, what you see is what you get. But yeah, how could you not want to be a positive role model? When I sat inside the pen and I was like 31, when I'm watching people in the county jail getting life, fighting different cases, knowing they not getting out. I'm just keeping it real. And it was unfortunate. And I'm just like, damn. And they showing kids, they got three or four, two all in the visiting room. The typical shot. You in the visiting room. They got the kid on the glass. They girl probably out there doing whatever it is she want to do. And that's the reality of it. Although they might say it's not. But yeah, I didn't want to be somebody that kept coming to prison or kept coming to jail. And I'm in my 30s, in my prime, and I don't got no family structure. I don't got none of that. So I was like, man, I'm gonna get out, get married, have me a kid, have me a daughter, and I'm gonna be a dad, family man, husband, all the above, and make things happen, you know. And that's when I came home and I was focused, like I was doing the footwork, for the carpentry, PV jobs, community build on Crenshaw with the firefighting crew, going hiking 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. on the mountain, all at Griffin Park, Runyon Canyon. You know what I mean? I was doing the footwork, not smoking weed, because I can go without. And you got people that's like, oh, they flaking you because they can't get up early or they can't stop smoking. So they didn't, some people didn't understand the value of life. And that's what I did, educating myself, reading books, read a lot of books and still reading more. So, I was just on my journey. Even when I wasn't working, I get with the staffing agency and I'm back out there the next day. Like, y'all need me? Yeah. Just adding checks, making it come together, making sure the family's straight. So, like I think about that, man, and it's people that they in society, they don't see that route and they don't want to do that route. And it's like, damn, that's crazy. Like you got options, you know? You can make things happen. Be somebody that has a sense of security for your family. Make things happen. Like you ain't gotta, associate with the. Now you can associate it. That's on you. But my thing is you ain't gotta be the person that see somebody and they get in the bag a certain way, selling whatever, doing whatever it is, and you like I'm gonna do the same thing, or I'm gonna go pass with you, and it's like you ain't gotta do that, But that's the thing. You can't really tell a lot of people what to do when it comes to that. And that's unfortunate, especially when you just trying to put out some wisdom. Like, nah, bro, like go ahead and, focus on that work. So I think about this one individual, man, and they still got that young mindset. Like you out here, you inside already making enemies and you ain't even close to home yet. Well, you close to home, but you trying to come home and have fights and you know get the blammer like nigga, I need to get cracking, and it's like whole time you can just go, what I'm saying, and focus with your kid and don't let somebody that you dealing with negatively influence you or provoke you or throw you off. You can't change what's going on when you inside. You can't control the narrative of what people do out there, that ain't even your place. Get your mind right, get your health right, get academically on point, and connect with them organizations that allow you to come to them and get housing and everything. But they don't want to do it. But I seen a lot do it. But not everybody think like that. Some people just kid mindset, unfortunately. But just wanted to check in. I know it's been a few days, man. I've been just trying to stay cool, you know. But I'll be back definitely. There's more content, and I just wanted to check in. I hope the family and everybody out there that's viewing, I appreciate it. Much love to you, and you know, holla at your boy, man. Like, subscribe, share, comment. I appreciate it. Show your folks. Tell your folks. Comment. Give me some likes, or not. It's all good. Or no, you know what I mean? I ain't tripping, but just so that if you feel like I'm putting out something, a message that maybe somebody else can hear, then, share it. It ain't got to be, just share it. Post it out there, let somebody know. Like, oh, did you know Ken, Judah? Yeah, you got the channel. Check this out real quick, and send it to them. So, yeah, much love, man. Y'all stay focused, stay blessed, stay hydrated, and stay wise. Stay with strong faith, you know. Um, Strong faith, stay wise, stay diligent, and don't let what's going on throw you off. This stuff is supposed to happen. So but control your narrative as far as your life and your well-being. Keep it positive. One love, man. Mindstone Radio. Judah Ken, man. I'm out.